You guys ready to make some soft scramble and caviar today? We got soft scramble, caviar, and truffles, croissant and brioche, and we're going to take you guys on a little virtual truffle hunt.
Amazing.
And so this is going to be super cool. I am super pumped about that. What is up, Tony? So my name is Jason.
I'm Sarah.
With my lovely wife, Sarah. And we are so excited to be cooking with you guys today. To give you a little history on Truffle Shuffle, right? We all met while cooking together at the French Laundry, right? And in 2018, we just wanted to start a business to help ourselves. Honestly, we wanted to fund our own restaurant. So we decided to dive straight into the truffle world by sending someone to Italy to go live with some truffle hunters, right? And the very first truffle hunter we ever worked with was a gentleman named Alessandro. And so later on, you're going to get to see firsthand truffle hunt with Alessandro. So that's going to be super cool. And it brings back memories to me because I remember getting the first shipment of truffles ever, right?
Yeah, they were so nice.
And if you can imagine getting that first shipment, okay, it was about 1 kilo, okay? Right from Italy, they show up, we open them, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I take those truffles, right? I put them in a little suitcase thing that we had, right? Or a little like a cooler. Put them in a little cooler, put some ice packs in there, okay? It was like a little satchel type thing. I drive to Target. I buy a nicer shirt at Target, okay? And then I buy a little digital scale. And that was the first business expense ever.
Karen really likes that.
Right? And then from there, I go from Target to the top restaurant that was closest to me in Sausalito. Called Pojillos, that I know does truffles, right? Karen, is very similar to the scale that I bought right there. And so I know they sell truffles. I go into the restaurant. I have my little like cooler bag. And the host is like, do you have an appointment? I was like, I'm here to sell truffles to the chef, right? And they're like, do you have an appointment? I was like, of course I have an appointment. They're like, why is the chef not here yet? And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. Let's go get him. And then the chef comes out kind of mad, right? Because I didn't actually have an appointment. And so he comes out kind of mad. I'm like, chef, I have some truffles here. I want to show you. And we go in the back. I show him the truffles. We pull them out. And he must have just had to have like a VIP guest that night. And he buys the truffles from me. Okay. And then the next shipment we get in, white truffles. Okay. And you get a shipment of white truffles and everything, like the UPS truck, like everything smells like white truffles. Right? Similar story, open them up, take them. The first restaurant I went to was Angler, right? They buy the biggest, nicest white truffles, like $700, okay? And then the next 23 restaurants that I went to, nobody bought any truffles. No chefs bought any truffles whatsoever. We would take them and we would do dinner parties, right? We would do whatever we could to make that money back.
Jason even tried to he was like, okay, they didn't buy from me. Now you have to go in there. And that still did not work.
I sent Sarah in there, and then I got to the point where I started getting multiple cell phones, right? So I would have our cell phone number, and I would text them the price, and then I would text them from a different cell phone number that I knew was their truffle guy, right? I would say, hey, so sorry, I got a new phone. This is my new number. Here's the prices for the truffles this week. About like 20 minutes later, and I would make it like $500 more expensive.
That worked one time.
But moral of the story is basically we did in the next 20 chefs that I tried to sell truffles to, nobody would buy them, right? And we just kept going, and eventually their guys want to have truffles, they would call us.
And then
right?
we come through, and we were their supplier.
And we did not stop, right? And in that first 3 months of building this business, we just did not stop. It got insane. It got very, very hard, right? Truffles were very expensive. It was really hard dealing with having that much just equity in something. We had never really done that before. And we kept going. And in 2019, we actually got to the point where we could launch a product with Whole Foods. And Whole Foods, we landed this global deal with Whole Foods, and we really thought that was going to be our big break, okay? So basically, we were ramping up for this big break that was supposed to happen mid this year. And we had put then all of our money into producing everything we needed to go into the Whole Food stores. We went into about 100 with the goal of going to 500, and we went to 100 and did the samples, got the products together, right? And you got to think those samples, you know.
So for those of you that are joining us for the first time, we make a truffle salt, which is in your kit today, and then a brown butter truffle honey. So that's what Jason's talking about.
Yeah. And so when you launch a product, to buy jars that cost less than $5 each jar, you got to buy 10,000. So we got 10,000 jars for truffle salt. We got 10,000 jars of truffle honey, and we're making all this product ourselves. And so we're going to the first stores, and we finally get the green light to go into all 500 stores.
At one point, we had to move all of our furniture out of our house. So we used the cases of jars to build a couch. And that was our couch in our living room because we had to figure out where to put everything. So
yeah, she tells it nice now. She was pretty mad when I did that. I didn't tell her that we were taking the couch out, and I thought it was a nice thing. I put cushions on it.
Well, this was day of Halloween party that I was throwing, and I walk in and it's, where's my couch? Oh, here's a couch that's built of cardboard boxes. Oh.
It was a nice couch. It had armrests. Okay. And I doubled the boxes up on the side. It had a little armrest. And so we put everything into launching with Whole Foods. And then when COVID-19 hit, right, we had put, I mean, really, I truly mean everything. All the money we had to be successful with this launch with Whole Foods, but we were 3 months out from that when COVID-19 hit. And we had 20 pounds of fresh truffles on hand. Our business was 80% to restaurants, right? And every single restaurant in the entire world was closed. And so, you know, it kind of felt like that starting all over again. And we have all these truffles. We have to figure out a way to sell them. And so we launched our first truffle risotto cooking class. 70 people bought it, right? 70 people bought it. And of those 70 people, they all added like a half pound of truffles to their cart. And so because of that, we sold out of everything. And we've been doing it every week since. And I pulled the numbers the other day. In total, we've sold 20,000 of these experiences, right? At the beginning of this year, we had 6 people on the team. I looked at payroll the other day. We have 17 people on the team now. All the 11 that we brought on were chefs, hospitality workers that were completely laid off. And for every single ingredient kit that we've sold, we've donated a meal directly to a frontline healthcare worker or someone in need in the Oakland community. And pretty soon we're going to be announcing a partnership with World Central Kitchen that'll allow us to employ even more chefs and give even more back to the community. And so with that, I want to thank you guys so much for cooking with us today.
Yeah, sorry. Long, short, thank you.
Yes.
We wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you very much.
We got an awesome rundown. Okay. We're going to be making the soft scramble, which is a technique that all chefs need to know to be able to work in a Michelin star restaurant. So we're going to teach it to you guys. We're going to tell you a couple different ways that you can utilize this technique. Sarah's got a sidecar, and then we actually have the founder of the Caviar company on this call with us. Petra's going to chat with us about the different types of caviar. And then we're literally going to take you guys on a virtual truffle hunt. We're going to Umbria, Piemonte, and then over to Australia and show you a Truffier. So with that, thank you guys so much. Go ahead. I'd love to see where you guys are cooking from. So find that chat button, okay? Hit up the chat. Tell me, where are you guys cooking from right now? We got Chris in Houston. Garrick, where are you cooking from, and where did you learn those sick dance moves? San Francisco. All right, now where did you learn the dance moves? Because I know that wasn't in San Francisco. Okay. So, Sausalito. Suzanne knows Pojillos then.
Yeah.
Garrick was just feeling it, loving it. We got the Weber family. We got Gonka on today. Awesome.
Nice.
We got Liz. What is up, Emma? We got Nick Baisley and a little baby. What is up, Diane? Awesome, guys. So go ahead. Find that recipe we sent you, okay? And on it, you'll see where it says mise en place. And so the first thing we're going to do is go through the mise en place. And I'm going to show you what I'm cooking with here and make sure you guys have something similar, all right? First and foremost is our cutting board. We're also, we want to see Libby here in a second. And so we got the cutting board. Now we're going to need an 11-inch stainless or non-stick pan. Okay, this is to toast the bread. So, and then from there, I got a 2-quart pot. Okay, and so this 2-quart pot is actually what we're going to be using to do the soft scrambled eggs. So I know that's pretty crazy. We're going to cook eggs in a pot. The best pot is a Sabayon pot, which is a slope pot that's used in French kitchens to make Sabayon. But this is our next best, okay? So you guys show me your 2-quart pots. I want to make sure you're using something good there. Karen, do you have anything a touch smaller? Because you do want something with a handle. Garrick, that's a really nice size there. Kirk, that is basically a Sabayon pot, so that will be perfect. Miranda, you're nailing it. You also are holding that like you're about to hit someone, so I hope everything's okay over there. Awesome.
Tell Karen which one she should use?
Karen, use the one on your left. My right, your left. Yep.
Perfect.
Chef Mbika, that is perfect. Awesome. Joseph, nailing it. Very nice. Casey, that looks great. Angelina, nailing it. Janelle, Rolf, those look like the exact same size. Okay, so yeah, do that one. Do the smaller of the two there. Awesome. Ellen, that is a perfect size right there. Perfect, guys. Very important. David, the one your wife was holding was better. Yep, that one. Awesome. I'm saying that mainly because I'm trying to get some brownie points, okay? So now we got our 2-quart pot, and then we're going to sheet tray lined with foil. This is going to be for our brioche.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to want a small whisk. You're going to want a fork, okay? 2.5 quarts is okay, Carol Green. And then you want a little spatula, right? A small bowl. And then while you have this bowl, go ahead and just grab a couple other little mise en place bowls, right?
So if you have little glass bowls or little ceramic kind of butter dishes, we can use those for holding everything after we chop it.
Yep. And then grab a couple little spoons, okay? A good chef always has spoons on the station. So make sure you have some spoons. And then you'll want a paper towel as well, just to dab any of the excess fat off of those brioche toast. And then we got a knife. We would like a knife of the sharp variety. And so if you guys have a steel, I'm going to show you guys how to steel the knife later. Awesome. So do you guys have any questions on our mise en place?
I think everyone's looking good.
All right, very cool.
Cool.
Next, Cher's going to show us our ingredients we got here.
Perfect. So first we have our 6 eggs right here. You want to tell them about these eggs, Jason?
So all these eggs are coming from Great Valley Poultry, which is a beautiful little chicken farm up in Manteca, right? And so we're able to get half of their brown eggs, half of their white eggs, and they're just really nice, really cool family as well. Gonka, it does not matter what side of the foil you have up, but now I do know that you are a very detailed individual.
We like that. Perfect. And then next we have our little container of sour cream from Clover Dairy.
Mm-hmm.
This is phenomenal. Usually you think of like Caviar and we're using creme fraiche, but we're super fortunate here in California where we have just amazing quality dairy across the board. And this sour cream is very similar to creme fraiche. Move back at you. But so we're going to treat you guys, and we're not going to be using all of this, but we wanted to be a little generous and just give you some to play with later.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. After that, we have our Truffle Carpaccio.
Mm-hmm. And if you haven't already, go ahead, bust that lid off. All right.
Mm-hmm. You can see, I just realized people are probably reading this differently. I go down when I'm reading a recipe instead of across, but, and then we're going to have 2 different containers of butter, right? So one is the butter for toasting brioche, and that one is just going to be labeled butter. It really doesn't matter which one you need, just so we can stay organized. And then we have one that says butter for eggs, right? So when we're toasting our brioche, if you have a pan that we'll probably divide this in half, and we're going to toast 2 at a time, or if you have to do 1 at a time, you can use a quarter at a time, but you just want to make sure you have enough for all your pieces of bread. And then for the eggs, we're going to do 3 at a time. So we're going to be using half of this one at a time. And we'll still talk through all of that. So I know that seems like a lot of information, but we'll go over it again when we get there. And then after butter, we have the Balinese Truffle Salt that Jason and I were talking about earlier. Phenomenal. Try a little bit of on its own. We're not going to use this whole thing, so you'll have a little bit extra for later.
And then we got our chives over here. These will be really nice, right? I love chives on some fresh eggs. Mm-hmm. And then we got our Boulangerie croissant brioche.
Croissant brioche.
And so it's croissant dough that they cook like brioche. So they make the croissants, they have this leftover dough, they put it into the brioche tins and cook it like brioche. And it is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And then Diane and Linda, Ian on the chat will reach out to you guys and get you taken care of. And then last but not least, everybody should have got a little caviar, right? And so we had 3 different types. We had our smoked trout roe, right? We had our classic white sturgeon. And then we had our imperial ossetra. All are absolutely incredible. And we'll be able to get with Petra a little later on to kind of just chat about the differences in the caviar. Awesome.
Perfect.
So you guys give me a thumbs up if you are ready to move into cooking this soft scramble. What is up, Michelle? Michelle wrote Michelle number 1. Michelle, were you worried that there's another Michelle on this call?
It could happen.
It could happen. Okay. So, Sarah, you want to make this cocktail with us?
Let's do it. Mm-hmm. All right, perfect. So I've got my fun little bear cups here. So I wanted everything to be similar, but I'm actually going to make 3 different kinds of this cocktail essentially today. So sidecar, I wanted to give you a little bit of history about it, and I kind of went on a tangent in the last class, so I'll try to control myself because I find it very exciting. But a lot of the knowledge surrounding...
I like the drinking part.
I know you do.
Yeah.
So we're going to make it first, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the history of this cocktail as we go on. So we've got our sidecar cocktail mix here, and this is enough for 2. Don't necessarily do as I do because I'm going to stretch it for 3 just for demonstrations purposes, but you should be making 2 at home. And so you have a total of 4 ounces of this mixer. You're going to add 2 ounces of the mixer and 2 ounces of your spirit of choice, which traditionally is going to be cognac. So I've got a little bottle of Hennessy here first. If you don't have cognac at home, which I know is kind of an obscure thing to have in your bar, if you purchased it, that's awesome. You're getting this authentic experience, but you can also utilize whiskey, or even if you have brandy at home, are perfectly acceptable too. Mm-hmm. And then if you're not drinking, as always, it's all cooked out, what's in the mixer. So you can mix that plus a little sparkling water if you'd like, or any extra juice. You can supplement it with a little more orange juice if you'd like. But what's in the mixer today is a simple syrup that's made with Cointreau and cognac as well. And then that's been steeped with chamomile and chrysanthemum flowers. And then we added a little bit of lemon juice and orange juice. Awesome.
We got one question here. Would Porto work for this cocktail from Gonka?
Like port wine? I don't think so. I would say, if you have, depending on what kind of brandy you have, if it's like a darker brandy, I would use that. Basically just going into the argument's sake, this cocktail originated using brandy, but there are so many like kind of variants within brandy, depending on what wine you make it from, that they wanted to have something more across the board that was like cognac, which has a lot of very specific instructions as you go to make it. It like, just like you think of DOCG wine or like AOC or things that are specific, kind of, it has to be aged for 2 years, and there are a lot of details you have to follow. So they really wanted to switch it over to using cognac so that everyone, regardless of where you were in the country, could kind of have a similar drinking experience. So it was originally done with brandy, but now has more commonly been served with cognac. But either are perfectly acceptable. Rum is also awesome. Yeah, I would say if you're going to do that, do like a gold rum, maybe not necessarily a dark rum, but like barrel aged rum would be beautiful too. Cool. So we'll go into making this little guy. All right. So for these purposes, and then you've got your garnish in here, right? So I'm going to lay these off to the side, and that's how we're going to garnish it at the end. So I'm going to divide this. Like I said, you guys are going to be dividing this in half. I'm going to make mine a little bit shorter and divide it by 3. and then 2 ounces of your spirit of choice.
And so if they don't have Hennessy on hand, do you think that says positive things about their life choices or negative things about their life choices?
I think that just says, I don't think that says anything. I think they're going to be just fine. Perfect. So for the first one, like we mentioned, I'm going to put 2 ounces of Hennessy here. I'm going to use one of my lovely little garnishes, spin that around and put that in here. And then, pardon me, Jason, I'm going to borrow your spoon, fork for a second. Stir that guy up. Fabulous. There you are. And then our next one, as I mentioned, so this cocktail, since it originated with brandy, it actually had all different ingredients than what we know of now. So a traditional recipe will be cognac, a little bit of Cointreau, and then lemon juice. And like probably about 50 years ago, they would serve it up in a sugar rim, but I think now it's more common to have it on the rocks and no sugar. But originally, when this cocktail came about, even before it was necessarily named the Sidecar, it was a derivative of something that involved brandy, orange curacao, and lemon juice as well. And so like I explained, brandy, it had too many variants, and so they wanted to create something that was a little bit more of a stable base to build on. But I'm going to add a little bit of brandy to my second one and give that to Ian here. So that's certainly doable as well. And I got a little pear brandy from St. George.
Nice.
And then top that. And then when everyone's probably heard of curacao, but more in like tropical drinks, or if you remember having something like blue curacao in college, it's definitely like the not desirable liqueur of choice. But you can find dried curacao that's really kind of high end and luxury. And so it was made from an island that was owned by Spain. And so on this island, all of these really bitter oranges grew. And so they started making this. It wasn't really like a monitored orange liqueur. And so it was very like erratic. Like sometimes it would be really sweet and sometimes it would be really bitter. And so what they did with that is they were like, okay, Cointreau is this orange liqueur that's becoming very popular. Why don't we just switch that out? And so that kind of changed to stabilize it again. And so yeah, sorry. Okay. So that's another option. And then I find that if you are not someone that especially likes kind of like these caramelized notes or anything that's a little syrupy, for lack of a better word, you can certainly use whiskey, and that'll be perfectly acceptable in this cocktail. So I'm going to do one like that too and hand that to Brett.
Looks like we have some fans of these bear glasses here.
Thanks. So a lot of fun options, and the cocktail was originally thought to originated in London and Paris, and they kind of fought over that right at the end of World War I. And so that was when Escoffier was at the Ritz Hotel. And so it's kind of cool to think about this cocktail and pairing it with cuisine, and the fact that, he was at 2 different places, like the Carlton Hotel in London and the Ritz Hotel in Paris at both of these times, kind of towards the end of his career. And I thought that was really exciting to learn too. So sorry, I'm done talking about cocktail history, but I think it's important to know, and I think it makes each cocktail really important. You can stick to your vodka soda, but there's a lot of history behind things that are classic like this, and it's fun to share.
In the last class, Sarah said everyone's. What did you say about drinking?
Oh, history? You're just like drinking a little bit of history.
Drinking a little bit of history. So, anybody out there been consuming a lot of history since the pandemic has started? All right, cheers, guys. We got our signature cheers cam down here. Well, this is awesome. So we're gonna dig into the prep on this recipe. Okay, we're gonna throw it up on the screen. And get right into it. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is go ahead and preheat that oven to 350. And you guys should have already had your eggs out tempering, right? And so the reason for that is just like any protein, when you go into making a dish like this, you want it tempered. So if you're going to cook a steak, you want that steak tempered. You're going to cook eggs, right? And you are looking for them to be specific like the soft scrambled, then we want them very specific, okay? So with that, you want them nicely tempered because room temperature typically is always going to be around the same exact variance. So we got these guys out, tempered, and then we're going to go into slicing our chives. So before we slice the chives, what I wanted to do is show you guys how to hone your knife. So I got a steel here, and what I'm going to do is just gently, I like to work backwards on it, is gently steel the knife right backwards. I'm going to do a little slower, and all I'm doing is going back on this in the same exact motion. That way these chives are, we can get them as thin as possible. What do you think, Sarah? You want to show them how to slice these chives?
I would love to.
Okay, so since me and Sarah have been together, she's become a phenomenal chef. I've taught her everything I know. And so what you want to do here is first, these pieces that kind of got mangled in the shipping process, we're going to take those off, and then we're going to just, in a rocking motion, what we're trying to do is just get these as thin as possible. So you see that there? And the mark of a good chef is how thin you can slice those chives. Very nice. And then just try to really get that rocking motion, right? That way you get it nice and fluid. We'll get them nice and beautifully thin. So Carol Green says, love the cocktail history. Can you also sell the simple syrup?
Well, funny enough, we're doing a cocktail class at the end of, the page isn't quite up yet on the website, but we'll be doing a cocktail class later in August.
Ellen Ford says more drinking, maybe too much history.
Sorry.
I think she's talking about how much history she's been consuming during this pandemic. And then Megan, we aren't shipping kits internationally yet, but we do ship it all over the US. And so yeah, Angelina, Sarah's going to be doing an awesome cocktail class. It's going to be for people that have already bought kits. We're not even going to put it on the website. It's going to be a secret. And so we're going to be actually sending an email about that and calling people directly. Ellen says she has PTSD for being judged on her chive chopping / knife sharpness. So Ellen, we're actually going to go over to your screen and basically be as critical as possible when looking at those chives. Look, so you're doing a very nice job. Awesome. So you want to show people kind of a little close up here. You guys see Sarah's chives.
I have to go a little bit slower than Jason does, because although, you know, this is something that they're extremely good at, I find that I always end up chopping them a little too thick. So I just take a little extra time and go over this one more time.
And so we're going to get the chive slice, right? And then we're going to go into chopping half of that Truffle Carpaccio.
Okay.
And while Sarah's finishing up there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that paper towel. I'm going to get it wet so that we can put it right on top of these chives once we get them all in a little bowl. And those are looking fantastic, Sarah.
Thanks, so.
Those are the nicest little chives I have ever seen. Perfect. You want to get them all inside this bowl here? And so the technique we're going to do today, the soft scramble, we're going to do it and top it with, it's a very decadent technique, right? So we're going to top it with truffles and caviar, but you can also top it with smoked salmon, right? You can do smoked trout, smoked sturgeon. You can top it with uni, right? You can also toss it with like a really nice thin piece of ham, right? Like our Birico ham, or even like a little pork fat. And so some people out in Texas have even topped this with cactus, a thing they do out there.
Chef, I'm going to use a little prickly pear syrup on it, if you don't mind.
Nice.
Oh, we don't mind, Jeff.
Nice, Fred. So Sarah's got our chive slice, and now why don't we go ahead and we're going to chop half of this truffle. So we're chopping half to fold into the eggs, and then we're leaving the other slices for the top of the soft scramble. One reason for that is so that you guys really get that truffle flavor. The other reason for that is so you can show off to all your friends how much truffles are on the dishes that you're eating during this pandemic. I know Carlos Wagner loves to blow up that IG, so. Awesome. And so we're just getting it roughly chopped, okay? We don't need anything too fine. I like to kind of explain it. Imagine a coffee bean, right? And that coffee bean cut into 4 pieces. All right. How are you guys enjoying that cocktail? Give Sarah a little love in the chat if you are loving that cocktail.
No, unnecessary.
It's very necessary.
Okay, I like this.
Look at that. They're loving it.
Thank you.
Yep, that's perfect. Loving it with the brandy. Someone said they ran out of cocktail mix. They just started drinking Hennessy. Well, you're going to love this soft scramble, okay? Casey Jensen says, almost never drink cocktails. This is perfect. So tasty. Awesome.
All right, great. What's next?
So we got our carpaccio chop. We got our chives sliced, right?
That's correct.
Now we're going to go into toasting this bread, okay? So we got our butter here. And when you're toasting bread, butter will tell you exactly what you need from it.
That's what I'm on me.
I'm going to cut this piece of butter in half. And I'm going to put half in my pan, and then I'm going to turn the pan onto about medium, okay? And what I'm looking for here is to get that nice bubbliness from the butter. And once it's nice and bubbly, I'm going to toast 2 pieces at first, and then I'm going to do the other 2. And once I get it toasted, I'm going to put that onto my tray. And so butter is a really cool kind of a fat to cook with, because honestly, it's what is used in a lot of high-end restaurants, not just because it's flavorful, but because it really has the ability to tell you the exact temperature that it's at. So when you're melting butter and it looks kind of milky, right? It's just getting nice and melted. But then when you have butter and it's nice and foamy like that, that's the same temperature that cooks protein. And so when I was the fish chef de partie at the French Laundry, we would finish all the fish with butter. And when I would put the butter into the pan, I would know exactly how much longer I needed to cook it in that pan, right? For it to be absolutely perfect before I went to the guests. And we're talking, kind of like, very small pieces of fish. So we're talking milliseconds, okay, of how long that fish stays in the pan with the butter. So you guys see here, this is getting nice and foamy, okay? But we wanted to get a little bit more foamy. And if it gets brown, right? Brown is perfect for a brown butter sauce, but we don't want to toast anything in brown butter because it'll get dark too quick. Especially this croissant brioche, it's got a little bit of extra sugar in that dough. Makes it more delicious, but makes it cook faster. So now it's all nice and bubbly. So I'm going to go in for my first round and kind of press it down here, okay? And then you can use your fork, just like you're trying to get that toast out of a toaster. And you can use your fork to flip it when you need to. In the meantime, though, I'm going to enjoy some of this cocktail.
So we're doing half of the butter labeled butter.
Yes,
and they're the same butter. If you accidentally use the butter for eggs, just know they're exactly the same. We just label them a little differently because they're for 2 different purposes.
Mm-hmm. And so Ellen, all the butter is coming from Sonoma, from Clover Dairy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That guy's looking good there.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys will see this brioche, croissant brioche. At first, it's kind of a hard piece of bread. And then when you toast it like this, it gets really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Carl and Karen.
That looks
toast looks
perfect.
fantastic.
It's looking really nice.
Oh yeah, look at that.
That looks beautiful.
It almost kind of has like a French toast.
I was just gonna say
type
that.
look
It
to
totally
it.
looks that way.
Okay, we're getting very close here. And we're going to show you guys 2 different ways that you can plate this soft scramble. We're going to show one where you can do it right on the toast, right? And this is kind of like the nobody's looking. Let me see how much caviar I can eat at one sitting, okay? And then the other is a little, done a little nicer. We're going to cut the pieces out. We'll put the soft scramble in the middle. We'll put the caviar on top. And that's got the nice presentation. Okay, so we got these toasted perfectly. And so we're going to go on our sheet tray here.
Mm-hmm.
And then before we go into this next round, I'm just going to wipe this out and we're going to go in with the butter.
Right back in?
Yep.
With the first container of butter that we cut in half, we're going to the second half here.
And so if you guys have a pan big enough to cook all 4 pieces at one time, you totally can. Okay. So Sarah, do you know with this sidecar,
Mm-hmm.
was it ever enjoyed in sidecars?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm certain of it. It was named after, like that's where the name came from, is for the motorcycle accompaniment.
Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, right? You don't see too many of those anymore.
No, they're very dangerous. Sarah has wanted one for a very long time, but I keep telling her how dangerous they are.
Yeah.
You can't really take turns in them. All right, so we got our last couple of pieces here. You guys are doing an awesome job out there. Sabina, how's that toast coming?
Slowly.
Slowly? That's good. You don't want to cook it too fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cheryl and Judy, how's that toast looking?
Slow.
Good. That means you guys are doing it the right way. That means you're doing exactly how the butter is telling you guys to cook it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got mine toasted here. And then we're gonna take this and just let it hang out for 1 second before we go into making this soft scramble, okay? All right, anybody have that toast done? Give me a thumbs up. Carl and Karen look like they're nailing it. I'm a Bloomfield. You guys looking good over there? Awesome.
There they are.
Beautiful.
And so what is your favorite type of caviar, Sarah?
Oh, that's tricky. You know, I think we're very fortunate here in California because not a lot of people know that some of the best caviar in the world really comes from the Sacramento Delta. And if you guys have the white sturgeon, that's where it's from. It's right up here in Sacramento. And so that's probably a huge favorite of mine. I really like the salmon roe that gets really big, right? Like the king salmon one. Those are really cool too.
Mm. Yeah, I like smoked trout roe a lot.
Mm-hmm. And
then you really can tell that there's a difference between Osetra and the California sturgeon.
Totally.
And so I'm not a hater of either one, but I do appreciate them for the subtle differences, you know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're just entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
You know? One is very buttery. One is a little bit, has more salinity. Yeah.
Looks like Casey is trying to keep himself from diving into the caviar. And then Gonka has a couple questions about the caviar. And so Gonka will save that for Petra.
She'll be able to answer all of your questions.
And so you guys give me a thumbs up if you got that toast done, okay? Chef Bry, how you looking on that toast over there?
We're looking okay. All right.
All right, I want to see, there's a lot of people, I want to see a combination here. So give me, on your right hand, give me a thumbs up or a half thumbs if you're not done with your toast, okay? But then on the other hand, give me a thumbs up if you're done with that cocktail, because I think there's a correlation, okay? I think if you're done with that cocktail, everyone's about halfway done with the toast, and the people that aren't done with the cocktail are about, yeah, see that there?
Carol's got it.
Chef Mbika over here. Ellen Fort, nailing it. Ellen, how'd those chives come out? Can we see those?
Oh, amazing.
Oh, beautiful. Incredible job, guys.
Chef, those are the best chives I've ever seen.
Chef Kyle and Stephanie. What is up, guys? And we got Peyton and Piper. You guys almost done with that toast? And then how about Chef Sophia? Last couple moves there?
About the middle. Nice. Okay.
All right, very cool. So I'm going to talk through how we're going to do the soft scramble and give you guys a couple disclaimers, okay? So what is soft scramble and why is it even like a technique?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it just scrambled eggs or is there something more special to it, right? And so what it is when you have eggs and you think about all the different preparations with eggs, okay? So we have poached eggs, we have coddled eggs, right? We have egg souffle, okay? We have meringue, right? We have madeleines. We have all these different ways that you can incorporate eggs into different dishes to end up with different textures and flavors. And so with soft scramble, what you're doing is essentially making almost like a cooked sabayon, okay? So sabayon is the traditional egg sauce it's typically made with dessert wine, right? But you can also do it with oyster juice or chicken stock or red wine, different types of things. And what you do is you whip it to the point where it holds up on its own. And so with the soft scramble, what we're doing is scrambling it very gently to the point where it holds up on its own to be of a texture in itself, right? And to get it to really where we want it, we're gonna add a touch of creme fraiche or sour cream. And so while we're doing this, we wanna do low heat, and it's gonna seem like it's taken forever. And so there's essentially 3 stages. There's started, right? And then there's the foamy stage. The foamy stage means that your eggs are heated, okay? And then there's the cook stage, and that's when you'll start to see little bits of scramble, right? And so at the cook stage, that's where we're gonna watch it, all right? And so what you wanna do is practice a couple times, okay? Is pulling your pan off the heat very quickly, okay? That's called heat control, right? So that's why, Karen, I didn't want you to go with the 2-handled pot, okay? Because I wanted you to be able to hold that pot. And when you are a young chef learning how to cook at, whether it's a French Laundry or at Mastros, right? It's all about how do you handle that pan, the heat control, the pan, okay? Because you can cook anything. You can get anything to any point. You just want to make sure you have control over how you're cooking it.
Yeah.
And so with this, what you're going to see is going to get very close, and we're going to pull it back before it's done, and we're going to add a touch of sour cream, okay? And that's doing 2 things. Your pan is going to be hot. There's going to be a little residual heat in your pan, right? That's going to continue cooking the eggs. And then we're going to hit it with that sour cream. That's going to cool the eggs down. And so once we pull it back, hit it with the sour cream, keep whisking it, then what you're trying to do is just nail that perfect consistency with it, okay? And then from there, what you do is you've basically created this light, fluffy scrambled eggs that you can put onto the brioche and top it with caviar and pat yourself on the back, okay? So you guys give me a thumbs up if you're ready to do this.
Cool.
Awesome.
It looks like everyone's spread's toasted now.
Amity, are you ready up there? Nice. Woo! Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn this. You're going to start it on basically the lowest heat possible. Okay. And we're doing 2 batches, right? And so we're going to get this just kind of heating up on the lowest heat possible. We're going to go ahead and get our eggs whisked together.
Just 3, right?
So we're gonna do 2 batches. You got 6 eggs. So I'm gonna crack 3 eggs into my bowl. And then we're gonna whisk them with our fork. And the reason for that is so we don't incorporate too much air into the eggs. And Sarah's getting the truffle salt, and so we're gonna season these eggs with a touch of truffle salt.
1 pinch?
Yep.
All
And
right.
so she's gonna go in. Let's do 1 more pinch.
1 more pinch.
Okay. Very nice. And so now I'm taking my butter. I'm putting that on the board, or I'm going to cut the butter in half.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going half of the butter in the pot, and we're going to start slowly melting it, okay? And once it gets to that stage, the same stage that we're looking for with the toast, right? Then we're going to go in with the eggs. And if you guys see here, we now have taught you heat control with butter on one technique with the toasted bread. Now you can apply that same thing to your soft scramble. Okay, so what do you think, Sarah? You want to?
I would love to try.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to talk Sarah through.
You talk me through it and talk them through it.
Yep, so I'm going to talk Sarah through how to get these perfect soft scrambled eggs while you guys are also getting the perfect soft scrambled eggs.
I've never made this before, so we're all learning together.
All right. Okay, getting very close there.
We're good. Starting to get a little foamy.
Okay, and so this one you just want super light foam to it, okay? So you're very close there. And so we want that brioche to be nice and warm. So right before we put the eggs into our pot, we're gonna pop the brioche in the oven, which is right now. So you guys see, we're getting just slight bubbles there, okay? That's perfect. Brett's gonna set a 3-minute timer for us. And you wanna go ahead and go in with everything and make sure you have that little spatula to scrape it all in there, okay? And then once you put the eggs into the pan, you don't stop whisking, all right? And so Ellen, you do wanna season with that truffle salt. And yes, Ellen, that truffle salt was featured in Sunset Magazine. Okay, so now Sarah's whisking it, right? And so you don't want to stop whisking. And what Sarah's looking for is those edges, right? The edges of this pot. That's where the egg will cook and kind of hold for a second. So as she's whisking it, she's going to go back in and do what I call the, what's a good word for a technique that resembles how you drive a boat? Fred Exotic, I'm going to need you to answer that question for me. We're looking for a word for a technique that resembles how you drive a boat, okay? I'm going to show you a demonstration. So see this here? So you put your hand on the edge of the whisk, right? So Sarah's was a touch hot, so I turned it down for her, okay? So keep whisking. So you guys see how it's getting nice and foamy on the outside, right? So can you zoom in on that a touch? And so stop whisking for just 1 second.
Okay.
You guys see the foam, and you see how the color's almost starting to change? That means she's getting very close to be cooked, okay? And so we have skippering. Skippering might be that technique.
Yeah, that's a nice
or
one.
nautical wheelies. But what you're looking for here is you're watching it, okay? And when those bubbles start going away, that means your egg is going to start cooking. And when your egg starts cooking, you really need to be just all over it. Because what will happen is it'll go from being almost perfect to overdone in a matter of seconds, okay? And so if you guys want to, go ahead, make sure you have that sour cream open. You can put a spoon in that sour cream. If there's anyone assisting the chef, open that sour cream for them, put a little spoon in it, okay?
Mix it up, probably, right, if there's any liquid on top.
Yeah, you can whisk it around a touch, okay? And so how's it feeling, Sarah?
It feels good. It's definitely a little bit more foamy, and I see what you're saying about the color changing,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a little bit more like golden, I would say, than yellow right now.
Yep. And so there's a little bit more golden, and the bubbles come from heat and air getting incorporated, and when there's more heat than air, that's when it starts actually cooking. And so you're kind of watching it. If it's taking too long, then you can turn it off a touch.
I feel like it's taking a little long now.
And so that's our timer. So we're gonna pop this brioche out, and I'm just gonna set it right on top of the oven. That way it stays warm.
So 3-minute timer is for our brioche. It is now out of the oven.
Yep, awesome job, David. And then what's kind of cool about this technique is at the French Laundry, if Chef Keller would come in, right, and he would come in, he would come and check in on everyone, and if we were doing sauce scramble that night, because it was the supplement for the Osetra, right, and if he heard it get called in, like fire one sauce scramble, right, he loved making the sauce scramble. He's a man of repetition, so he loves doing things a lot of times, and so he absolutely loved making the sauce scramble. So if he would hear that fire one sauce scramble, he would grab a Sauvignon pot and just start making it, right? So it was one of those things where you really had to always make sure that you had the items needed to make it perfectly. So Sarah's getting very close here. You can start to see the bubbles, right? And this is the stage where when you see the steam coming,
like covering the top.
Yep, so keep whisking it. When you see the steam coming, that's when the eggs are about to, they almost like snap, right? Okay, very nice. So we'll just give a couple seconds and we just want to focus on this here. And so you see at the bottom how you're starting to see a couple of the eggs.
Yep.
And then, so now you want to pull it back a touch and really whisk it. Whisk all the eggs in there. Okay. And then you see how basically all the bubbles went away?
Yeah, some.
Okay. And now you're going to go back on. And then you see how you're whisking forward? You haven't even touched that back corner.
Okay.
So you got to make sure you get into that back corner.
Okay. I feel it getting a little thicker now.
And so keep whisking.
Should I pull it off again?
Pull it off just a touch.
Okay.
Okay. Very nice. All right, so pull it back even more, and just hold it up, and really whisk it. We're testing to see how hot that pan is.
Okay.
Hold it as close as you can to that camera. Okay, that's looking really good. But what we're looking for here is to be a little thicker. That way when we add the sour cream, the sour cream is going to loosen it up.
Okay.
So go ahead, we'll put it back on the stove. All right, very nice. And then don't forget to go in and do that skippering or those nautical wheelies or the coxswaining, which is the technique for that kind of driving the boat like that. Okay. All right, very close. You're very close to pull back again.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to go in with 1 spoonful of sour cream. You guys see that there? And so that's going to help cool it down. And then we're going in with half of that Truffle Carpaccio. All right. And now we're looking to see how thick it is. Okay, really nice. So with this, you're so close. What we're going to do is go back on for just 1 second. And if by chance you think you got it too thick, all you have to do is add a little extra sour cream to it and really whisk it together. Okay, very close. Okay, for 10 more seconds and it'll be perfect.
Okay.
I'm I'm grabbing your brioche. Okay, and then that is perfect. And then when you pull it off, you want to keep whisking it until some of that steam goes away. And what you've done is created just the nicest, lightest, fluffiest scrambled eggs. So hold it up to the camera so everyone can see it there. Karen, can you see this here? All right, and then just slow it down because I'm going to go in and pick some up so you guys can kind of see the consistency we're looking for. See how it's almost like a sauce? And so, Karen, you're looking really good. Add a touch more sour cream and just really whisk it. You might need a little bit bigger whisk. Okay. Amity, that's looking really nice. So we're going to go in. We're going to, Amity, let's see that real quick. Yeah, really nice. Really nice. All right, awesome job, guys. And so once you get it and you think it's there, take it off the heat. You don't want to keep it on the heat, okay? And you're going to use that sour cream as kind of your base to make sure it stays nice and saucy. So let's go ahead. Let's show them how we're going to plate these.
Okay.
And then I want to check out some of your guys's. So put the whisk in the sink. Now I'm going to show you guys here on our board cam. See, when I go in, I'm plating it. It's almost like this thick egg sauce, right? Kind of similar to hollandaise.
Mm-hmm.
So we sent you guys 6 eggs, so you can make sure you you have 2 tries with this, right? And so we got those there. And then I'm going to go in with my salmon roe, okay? And kind of spread it out on top. And you want to grab that truffle carpaccio there, Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're spreading it out with the salmon roe. We're going to hit it with some chives. We're going to hit it with that truffle carpaccio. We're doing one with salmon roe. And I'm going to do the other one here with the white sturgeon. Okay, and so you want to take that on this side.
Yep.
And then with the sturgeon roe or cetra, you kind of got to hit it in little pockets. Whereas the salmon roe, you can spread it out. With this, you got to hit it in little pockets. With how delicious everything is, it's kind of hard to mess this one up.
So maybe this is kind of a weird question, but I know from like people that are cooking at home, they're very hesitant for with runny eggs. And this is very, so how, just to recap, how are we able to cook it, but keep it at this really light consistency? Is that just stirring it constantly and incorporating the air continuously?
Yeah, so I mean, as you saw, it definitely was on the stove long enough to be cooked, right?
Right.
And so when you think of runny eggs, more you're thinking of like just egg yolks, right?
Right.
But here you can definitely tell, I mean, all the eggs are cooked, and what we're doing is just utilizing eggs' natural ability to absorb air, just like they would for a meringue, or a sabayon or hollandaise. But in this case, we're whisking them to the point where they, instead of holding the base of a sauce, they're holding their own little pieces of egg.
Sure.
Okay. And so we got these guys here. And then I'm going to grab one more piece of toast and just kind of show you guys another way you could do this. And so we got our soft scramble. What I'm going to do is basically put it right in the middle. I'm going to put it just off to the right side. And this is kind of more what you think of if you were to like go to a restaurant and have like a composed dish. And so we got our pile of brioche over there. We got a couple of slices of truffle going down here. And then we're going to grab the caviar.
And do the imperial there.
So this is the Imperial, and I'm going to put a nice dollop right in the middle there. And then we're going to hit it with chives. And this one, you can take those toast points and kind of dig right into there. So those are ours. But now I want to see your guys's. We're going to play Let the Good Times Roll. And I want to see your guys's, so hold them up to the camera.
Those look so awesome. Oh, beautiful.
All right, Carl and Karen, awesome job there. You can see it's nice and saucy.
Mm-hmm.
We got Lily Chambers here. Awesome.
Beautiful.
And so, Lily, you can hit that with a little sour cream there. Well, the beauty of this is you have brioche, eggs, sour cream, chives, truffles.
Oh, excellent. Guys.
Awesome. All right, we got David Goldenberg.
Oh, perfect.
Awesome job, guys. Libby, oh, look at that. Stunning. A couple different types of caviar on there. Awesome. We got Kirk Flatow. Kirk, we're coming in there.
We didn't have
Nice, Kirk. That's a knife and forker right there. All right, we got Tony.
Oh, great job, guys.
Awesome. All right, we got Amity. Look at the chives on this one.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then we got Angelina Mondavi.
Oh, Angelina, beautiful.
And how about Gonka? How you looking over there, Gonka? It looks like they're on
We're
finals.
working on it. We just have this, and we're not quite sure that it's curdled enough. This.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me come over.
There you go.
Okay, so you're very close. You might just have to turn the heat up just a touch, but you're doing an awesome job.
You're almost there. It
Thank
looks very
you.
close.
We've been turning up the heat like continually.
Yeah. But that looks perfect because you can tell it's like a sauce, right? It's like and you can already tell. I can tell from the way the pan moved that it's nice. It's nice and thick. All right, we got Chef Cashew over here. Oh. All right, we got Chef Cashew.
There he is.
Chef Cashew, look. And so, Joseph, we put that Truffle Carpaccio right into the mix.
Oh,
All right,
nice.
we got
What is this? A little bruschetta board over here?
the Weber family.
Beautiful.
Nice.
That looks awesome.
There you go.
How you
And then we
guys?
got Sabina. Nice job, Sabina, nailing it. All right, we got Peyton and Piper. We see you guys over there.
Good job, buddy.
Awesome job, you little chefs. All right, how about Betsy? Betsy, let's see that. Oh, man.
Man, so nice.
Awesome job. All right, we got Peyton and Piper high-fiving each other like crazy.
Let's see it one more time.
Okay, and then we got Diane Hart. Ian, can you spotlight Diane? All right, we got Ellen Fort. Ellen. Oh, man.
Ellen, perfect.
Ellen, I can tell that those chives are out of this world. Those are the nice chives I think I've ever seen.
I put as much caviar as possible every time. So YOLO.
Really great. Oh man, when you do like risotto, they had me. I was like, I'm like an arm hurt.
You know what I like doing?
Awesome
When
job,
we're almost
guys.
there?
All right. Diane Hart, that is looking fantastic. So as we're enjoying these, right, we're going to take you guys on a truffle hunt, okay? So we're going to go to Umbria, Italy. We're going to go to Alba, Italy. And then we're going to go to Australia. And then when we get back, we're actually going to be able to do a little Q&A with Petra from the Caviar Company. So before we go, I just want to check in. Does anybody have any questions on that soft scramble? You got another round you can make, okay? Michelle, how's yours looking over there? Okay, let's see that real quick.
Beautiful.
Nice. And so, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Throw them into the chat. I'm looking at the chat. So Topeka, for plating, basically, there's kind of two options. One, and so Carol, if it still feels a little liquidy, you just got to cook it a touch longer.
I would say it was much softer than I expected, though.
Yep, it's pretty soft, but you want it to be a sauce. And you will kind of notice when it cools down, it thickens up. But you want it, there's kind of liquidy, you want it to hold on a spoon. Does that make sense? You want to be able to go in there, get a spoon, it holds on that spoon. And so Topeka, if you go over here, right? So if you see, I got these guys here. Where basically I put the soft scramble onto the toasted brioche, topped it with caviar, sliced truffles, and our chives, okay? At a restaurant, this will be a $400 plate of food. And then over here, I got kind of like the appetizer portion. You got some friends coming over, right? You want to bust out this cool technique, but you know that your friends don't want to, I mean, I don't know about your friends, but typically people, when they're eating around other people, they don't want to just gorge their face.
Right.
And so this, I'll show you if you have a little spoon. This allows you to kind of go in, people can pick it up, and then kind of put just a little on and eat it in kind of smaller bites. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to hand this to our camera guy.
Oh, thank you, Chef.
He's going to enjoy that. So any other questions? If not, we're going to jump into this video.
Say like fondue texture is probably about right?
A little bit thicker than fondue.
I think it was like, for me, because we've made polenta before
Mm-hmm.
together, I think a little thinner than polenta is, tell me if I'm wrong, but that's
Yeah,
kind of what it
that's a
felt
good
like
way to look at it. Casey, that looks awesome. Awesome job down there.
Woo!
Nailing it.
She's relieved. Nice.
All right, so real quick, everyone, give everyone a round of applause. Lily Chalmers.
What's up, little one?
This little one just wants you guys to know that you did a great job, okay? All right, so Brett put together this awesome video for you guys, and honestly, watching it is so cool. So we're gonna go with these truffle hunters throughout Italy, and then we're gonna go to Australia. And in Australia, you're gonna see it's a truffiere, so it's where they planted the trees. So you'll see kind of the wild forest in Italy, and then in Australia, you'll see all the trees are just completely lined up.
More like a farm.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna cue that up. We're gonna enjoy this. We're gonna come back. We're gonna tell you guys about next week's dish, and we're gonna chat with Petra from the Caviar Company.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah's always talking about these wine whispers, and I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about. But today we're going to learn about truffle whispers. And I'm super excited to tell you guys about some of the truffle hunters that we work with. And so first, we're going to go over to Umbria, right? And at Umbria, you're going to meet Alessandro. Alessandro is the first truffle hunter we ever worked with. He's coming from a family. They've been hunting truffles for 900 years. Just been a lifelong family tradition for them. And then we're going to go a little north and get pretty close to the All the White Truffle Festival. And we're going to meet Valentina, who hunts truffles in Piemonte. She's very special, right? She's a very special truffle hunter, as she is a 4-time cancer survivor and one of the very few female truffle hunters that is around. And what's interesting, she only goes out with one dog. And so she's got a little grocery store right in town. She goes and she hunts truffles in her free time. She brings those truffles to the grocery store and sells them right at her little store. So it's pretty incredible. So we're going to go through with her and hear her story about hunting truffles. And then we're going to make a quick little pit stop all the way in Australia and see how they're hunting truffles over there in a truffiere, right? And so in Italy, we're going to hunt them wild. And then in Australia, we're going to hunt them on a truffiere. Australia, they hunt them on a truffiere, which means that they have planted trees, typically hazelnut or oak, that have been inoculated with the truffle spore. And so they inoculate them with the same spore of truffle that you'll find in France, the black Perigord truffle. And so what's very interesting about this is that it takes 15 years after they plant that tree for the truffles to start producing next to the trees. And then you only get truffles for about 5 years. So they have to plant another about 15 acres every 5 years. right? And so it's an incredible amount of work to be able to produce these truffles. And so Australia is on the same latitude lines as France, as is Napa. And so that's why in Napa, they've now started to be able to produce these same black winter truffles. And so I thought it'd be super cool to be able to show you guys some of the truffles, some of the hunters, and see how they do their daily work, right? And how we work with them to be able to get the truffles here, slice them, poach them, get them in that little jar, and send them to you guys and your kids every Sunday. So enjoy. First, we're going to take you to Umbria, Italy, where we'll hear from Alessandra, the very first truffle hunter we ever worked with.
The life of truffle hunters is very tiring. I start this morning at 4 o'clock, and now come back is at home is 5:11.
Alessandro and his family have been hunting the land of patina for 900 years. His grandfather, who we saw earlier, is actually credited with finding some of the world's most popular truffle hunting spots. Alessandro is the first hunter to show us how much you have to care for the dogs and care for the lands and the areas that they go out truffle hunting. For every truffle that they dig up, they have to come back later that day and fill that hole back in with dirt so that it doesn't signal to the dogs the next day when they come out. So you think Alessandro and his grandfather and everyone before them has been taking care of this land. Next, we're taking you to Piemonte, Italy, which is home to the White Truffle Festival. It's also home to one of our absolute favorite truffle hunters, Valentina. Valentina is one of the very few female truffle hunters and has a really unique story. She owns a grocery store and is a 4-time cancer survivor. And she hunts with a single dog, Cora.
She is in the place.
A popular spot.
When she's not running her grocery store, during white truffle season, she's hunting truffles as much as she possibly can.
I go to hunting truffle almost every day if I can. If I can with the work, but in the truffle season I sleep a very little bit.
Most truffle hunters go out with many dogs, and she's very unique that she only has one.
Welcome to the Truffle Shuffle. We're going to take Molly out. If you can see her. Hey, Moll. We're going to take Molly out and see if we can find you a truffle. Let's go.
Here you can see the trees are all lined up, and this is what you call a truffier. And so in Australia, they've been trying to produce truffles for the past 40 years. And it takes those trees 15 years to get to that stage. And it's not until about 15 years in that the trees will start producing truffles.
Sitting
on the surface.
How's she smell, Mum?
Perfect. Bringing its way to you guys.
That was the Truffle Shuffle. Welcome to our farm and welcome to the hunt. Let's go and see if we can get one for you to do. Come on, come this way. Let's have a look. As you can see, beautiful day here in Australia. And here's one that we found. The most important thing is the smell. Oh, that's not bad, I have to say.
As you can see, for every single truffle that gets hunted, someone has to go out, dig it out from the ground, take it, clean it, care for it, and get it all the way over here to America so that we can enjoy it on some of these fantastic dishes we get to cook together here at Truffle Shuffle.
And it smells divine. This one's coming all the way to the United States for you, and thank you very much. Enjoy.
Nice. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to be able to show you guys some of the hunters we work directly with and just kind of show that part of the industry. Because I think a lot of people, when they hear about truffles, they think about, you know, maybe like compared to maybe like jewelers or like the Vegas hotel scene, right?
Right, like it's a very like high-end, like luxury thing.
But honestly, you know, you have hunters that go out and they just every day, just like mushroom foragers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, you know, kind of farmers that have started troufiers.
Mm-hmm.
They just happen instead of to be growing potatoes or growing truffles. And so it's really cool. And so to me, it's just awesome to see how much care just for the truffle to be here, right? Just for the truffle to be in the United States, how much care everyone that came in contact with that truffle had to take to make sure. And everyone takes all this care, not because it's a high price item, right? They take all this care because they know that if you really take care of that truffle and you prepare it correctly, it's going to make someone's day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we built our entire business off of truffles. And there's a couple other ingredients that are like that, one of which is caviar. Okay. And so I'm very excited to have Petra chat with you guys about the different types of caviar that you're enjoying right now. Caviar is very similar. It is an ingredient that you have to take a lot of care of. And very small bits is unbelievably delicious. So Petra, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, thank you for having me. We just did the cooking class and it was amazing. I just made dinner for my daughter. I think she's a fan. I don't know if you can see yet what is all on her face. Let's see if you can see this. So I think she likes it. She's finished. And then we have Obi here waiting for whatever might be left. So we think he could be a truffle hunting dog too.
I think so.
But yeah, so we're so excited. We love partnering with you guys and getting to participate. I mean, I love to do your cooking classes even without caviar. So getting to add caviar into it is just an extra bonus for me. So thank you. For those of you who haven't met us before in another class, I started the caviar company with my sister back in the end of 2015. And we have a lot of synergy with Truffle Shuffle in that we're really trying to make caviar approachable and educate people on caviar and also learn how to cook with it. And what's so cool about this is that being able to, you know, 1 ounce of caviar, a lot of people don't think that that's a lot of product, but you can really see, like, when you're plating it and using it on the eggs and on this dish, how far you can stretch it, that like a 1 ounce can really go a long way, which is really cool to see with this menu item. So thank you, Chef, for doing that. So as Chef said, we had 3 different products that we sent that you could have purchased for this kit. So we'll start with, the first is the smoked trout roe. Sorry, that's Adrian. is having a good time with her screen. So we have the smoked trout roe that's been cold smoked with apple and cherry wood chips, and it's been cold smoked in an old whiskey barrel, so you really get that smokiness and we say kind of bacony flavors. We love it. It's great with eggs, it's great with breakfast, and it's a good, really approachable product. And we call it smoked trout roe as opposed to trout caviar because technically it's not caviar because it doesn't come from sturgeon. So in order to be considered caviar, it has to come from a sturgeon, just kind of like champagne and sparkling wine. In order to be considered champagne, it has to come from the Champagne region of France. So it's all sparkling, just like all fish eggs are roe, but only the white sturgeon and the ossetia that we have today are considered caviar. So that's kind of a fun thing that we really like to educate people on. And then Sarah really pointed out, got the white sturgeon input in there. I know she loves it, and I was so happy to hear that. It's one of my favorite products too. It's such a cool product because when my sister and I first started our company, people were like, oh, you know, only good caviar comes from Russia. And after tasting this, you can tell like that's obviously not true. And a really interesting fact is way back not way back, but back in the 80s, whenever the stocks were starting to dwindle in the Caspian, Russians came over here and took white sturgeon from the West Coast, brought them back to Russia, processed the eggs there and made caviar there, and then they sold it back to the US as Russian caviar because they're saying because it was processed in Russia, that is Russian caviar. But the white sturgeon is such a great product, and it's cool for us who I saw a lot of people are in the Bay Area to have this local product that this fish swims in the San Francisco Bay, and then they would go up and spawn in the Delta. Now this all has to be farmed legally. So it's farmed just north of Sacramento. And it's this creamy, buttery, it's so easy to enjoy. You can eat it by itself, or you can, obviously it's really great on the scrambled eggs. And then the last product is the Imperial Golden Russian Osetra, which is actually our top product. We have 8 different types of black caviar, and the Golden Osetra is our very, very top product and highest price item, partially because of the age of the fish. As the fish get older, they get a lot more fats, and those fats really replay into the product with the fats of the eggs and the richness of the eggs and the texture of the eggs and the size of the eggs. And so it takes a lot longer to get those eggs. And so it's a really special, coveted product.
Nice. Well, I mean, honestly, every time I have the caviar from you guys, it is far superior. And kind of the way I think you can best explain it, and I don't know if a lot of people really understand this, but when it comes to companies like Truffle Shuffle or Caviar, the way you get the best product is really by treating the purveyors you work with the absolute best. You know, so on our end, we treat our truffle hunters really, really well, right? A big part of that is paying on time, you know, and really taking care of them and paying a fair price for what they're doing. And you can see that when you will work with caviar companies, they take care of everyone they get their caviar from. And that's how you get such a premium product. And that's why it does take so long to be able to develop your name in the industry. So I know we had a couple of questions about the caviar here. I know Gonka had one. And so Gonka, what was your question? You might have to hit unmute over there.
Oh yeah, instead I stopped my video because that's how good the cocktail is. But yeah, we got the trout, and I was wondering where the trout was coming from.
So the trout roe is farmed in Spain.
Thank you. So all of this has such amazing history. Thank you guys. This is fascinating.
Yeah,
we didn't know that we had local caviar, and now we'll never go to Russian caviar again.
Okay. Yeah, we're in San Francisco. We have a retail store on Union Street, but you can also do right now. Obviously, we're doing curbside pickup and local delivery. You can find us. Our website is www.thecaviarco.com, and I can write it in the comments as well. And we have a variety of sales from time to time, and a lot of education. We do have a upcoming tasting where we're going to really dive into how to properly taste caviar and what to look for whenever you're buying caviar. And so that one is coming up not this Thursday, but the next Thursday. And we're partnering with Chef Kim Alter. She's a female chef in San Francisco, and we're donating 20% of the proceeds to their restaurant employee relief fund. But so that is $75 for 2 people, and we would love to see some of you guys join us. I see a few questions here. In the refrigerator, once the caviar is opened, you'll want to eat it within 3 to 4 days. Unopened, it'll be good for 4 to 6 weeks, just as long as you keep it in your refrigerator. You just really want to make sure that it stays nice and chilled. And I see someone else, if we do ship direct to Texas. I'm actually from Texas, and we always get really excited to ship to Texas. And with our cocktail tonight, I don't know if there are any Fort Worth people around here, but we have this amazing TX whiskey that we put in our sidecar. But yes, we do ship everything priority overnight on ice.
Nice. And then I got a private question here. Is there a caviar season like there's a truffle season?
You know, not as much as truffles. There are different times of the year that we do that the farms do harvest, but it can happen like our next harvest from the farms that we source from will probably start end of October, early November, just getting ready for the holidays. And then usually you can see like a spring harvest. We don't see a lot of summer harvest because it's so hot. Again, temperature is something that really affects the quality of the eggs and the fish too. So, but what's really interesting with some things like truffles, you want them right away, right? As soon as possible from the second that you've gotten it out of the ground onto the plate. Is that right? Like you want to really, time is of the essence with truffles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when we get our fresh truffles, they've only been out of the ground for 48 hours.
Yeah. So it's really, really quick. I mean, we sometimes feel the pressure with the perishable thing, but you guys must seriously feel the pressure. So like when we make caviar, you actually want to wait. So all we do is add salt to the caviar and then we let it sit in its original tin. Actually I have one in a guy like this. This is called an OT, or an original tin. So whenever you get the caviar from the fish, you just put it in this tin and add salt to it. And that's kind of like a winemaker. You know, they have their perfect formula. They know exactly how much salt to add to it. But if you were to have it the next day or within 48 hours, the caviar actually wouldn't have that much flavor. You want to have at least a few weeks of the salt penetrating the eggs to make the full flavor and full texture kind of come out. So like when I worked for the farm, we would do biopsies on the sturgeon to see how she's producing her eggs, what the size is, what the texture is, and we would taste it, you know, coming out of her belly, and it really didn't have a lot of flavor there. So we thankfully have a little bit more time than 48 hours to get the caviar to you to find that optimal time to get the perfect flavor.
Yeah. On the truffle side, the pressure is always on.
Yeah.
And so.
Awesome.
Incredible, Petra. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It looks like everyone has really enjoyed it. You guys want to give Petra a round of applause for bringing such incredible caviar on the show?
Thank you so much for having us, honestly. I am excited to make my second batch so that I can feed myself. My husband and daughter have loved the first batch, and so now I'm going to get into my own, and I saved 2 pieces of brioche just for me. I made Alex only have one because one went to Adrian.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Petra. And so, guys, for next week, right, give you a little sneak peek into that. We'll play a little video. We got 2 kind of cool things happening. One, a lot of people have sent in messages asking if we can do a video experience, right? Mm-hmm. So we're testing it out this week, and you'll see it in the survey email, okay? And so those survey emails, me, Sarah, and Tyler, we read all of them. So please put as many comments as possible into there. And so this week, we actually made a couple extra kits, right? And you can order those, and then we'll start shipping them Monday, okay? Mm-hmm. So you guys can order them, and you can also tell all of your awesome friends and family, okay?
Yeah, so maybe if you got like the trout roe and you were really interested when Petra was mentioning the sturgeon, of course, you can just purchase that direct from her. But if you want to recreate this recipe, you can go online, follow the video, and get maybe like the kit with the sturgeon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so you'll get an email with the video edited beautifully, and it'll come with the same exact experience that you guys received here. And then for next Sunday, we're taking a American classic, right? Mm-hmm. At one point, it was an Italian classic, but now it's an American classic, spaghetti and meatballs.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Right? And we're going to truffleize it, okay? So we got truffle pecorino in, okay? And then we're also going to send you guys a half ounce of truffle from Alessandra, right? And so it's going to be what you call a summer truffle. It'll be a little gray on the inside, black on the outside. And we're going to shave those into the spaghetti and meatballs.
Into the meatballs as we're making
Yeah, we went over and Chef Cashew did a sneak peek with him. You guys will see that on our IG pretty soon here, and realize that we got to up our game.
Chef Cashew demanded truffles for you people.
Yeah, so that's going to be a really cool dish. It's literally going to be like the best meatball you've ever had. It's going to be Wagyu. There's going to be truffles in it. There's going to be truffle pecorino, and then we're going to send everything you need for a little side dish of spaghetti to enjoy with these awesome meatballs. And remember, today only, you guys can utilize code. It's like Peyton and Piper. I don't know if they're freaking out about the meatballs over there, but they look very excited about that.
I think they look very intrigued.
And so, remember, guys, today only, you can use code INVITED20, right, to get hooked up on next week's dish.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was so awesome cooking with you guys today. Well, I almost forgot what is going to be our cocktail.
Oh, guys, it's summer. We're making sangria.
Yeah, so Sarah's going to send you guys a little sangria mixer kit.
Yeah, it's going to be a berry sangria, so it's going to lend itself a little bit more towards red wine sangria, but you can definitely go towards like a white wine or rosé sangria too. So whatever bottle of wine you choose to mix, totally up to you, but we're all going to get there together.
Yeah, and then very important, I want you guys to know that I'm working with Sarah on figuring out how to send you guys cocktails that you can light on fire. So some sort of cocktail, light it on fire.
He's like, no, we're not doing that.
We got requests from the previous class, and I don't even know how we didn't think of that. So that'll be down the road. Maybe a margarita that everyone can light on fire. Karen, do you think you would enjoy a margarita that you can light on fire?
She's like, I don't know about that.
Carl looks excited. Awesome. Well, you guys are absolutely amazing. Are there any additional questions that we can help answer for you guys? If not, I'm so excited to see you next week. Carol Green says, my apartment manager would prefer no fire.
Carol, not doing fire.
Carrie, we'll send him a kit. Send me his number. I'll talk to him about it. Okay, I got away with these things. All right. And then after the spaghetti and meatballs, we got salmon, and then we're also going to do this roast chicken. And I'm only saying this because I just saw Gonka's comment on this, and I know Gonka is a big fan of Rick Negron. And so we're going to chat with Rick and see if we can get him to come back on the show and help us do a little opera for this roast chicken. Mm-hmm. We beta tested a little bit ago, and it was so awesome. You guys are incredible. We're going to kick some music on. Thank you so much.